Hi, welcome to Just Around the Corner. And on this episode, I have with me Kristin Temple. She is
Mhm.
the owner of Wilderness Blooms Counseling. And Kristin, I'm so excited to have
Mhm.
you with me today.
Yeah, me too, Sarah. Mhm.
Um,
Thank-
well, I want to just one, just have an opportunity to get to know you and your
mhm.
practice and just tell us a little bit about what is Wilderness Blooms Counseling.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, Sarah, to share. Um, Wilderness Blooms Counseling, the name specifically came out of my own journey of doing my own counseling work and kind of being in a long season of life where it felt like the wilderness and just was not feeling like I was truly living and questioning like, well, if this is going to be a prolonged season of life, like I've got to figure out how to live even in seasons where I didn't expect. So that's really my heart in Wilderness Blooms Counseling is learning to find life in the unexpected because we all go through the unexpected in life. And sometimes that unexpected lasts longer than we ever imagine and becomes a new normal for us. So my heart is to really help people just find life in the unexpected, um, and to truly live.
I love that. I love that just this name has come out of your own process.
Mhm.
That's so powerful. Um, like as a counselor, that you've had your own
Mhm.
counseling journey that has inspired you
Mhm.
and led this effort. And it feels like safe just even in my body knowing like, okay, you
Mm.
know where you've already been
Mm.
is an unknown territory for you. And like the image that comes to my mind is like a tour guide in the desert who's like, you're the expert and you're like, hey, I've been in this desert for a while and I know like how to walk this with you. And so that feels
Yes. Yes, yes, and just truly inviting, having in the wilderness, like, so I imagine just like having an open invitation for people to come and just let me be with you in this place. Let's set up camp.
that's awesome. And how long has Wilderness Blooms been around?
Yeah, so I started the practice. It's been about 3 or 4 years that it's been around. The name has been around a lot longer.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, the practice started about, I think, 3 years ago.
Love that. And remind us and just to inform the audience, like where are you located? How can people find you?
Yes, I love my location. I am right off I'm in Fayetteville. I'm right off the Fayetteville Square. Um, and so just right downtown. So I always love telling my people who come see me, I'm like, you can come see me and then you can go for a walk, you can go grab a coffee, you can go grab a bite to eat, go to the farmer's market, like make a day of it.
Yes, it gets to be a whole, yeah, a field trip, a whole day. I love that.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
love too, just like, you and I are people that we collaborate just in a professional.
Hmm.
It's fun having you near too, um,
Yes.
getting to just like have our offices be close to one another so we can just have community in that way. So I love that
I
you're
love,
here.
yes.
Um, so what would you say like within your practice are areas that you really feel like are your zones where you
Mm,
focus and this is like your passion place?
yeah. And such a great question, Sarah, too, for people to know that counselors like have their lanes or their specialties and like to that you can search that out as you're looking for a counselor. Um, I primarily like where I come alive in the counseling room is in trauma and grief, and then helping people also adjust to major life transitions, um, and in families as well. So I really focus on. I'm trained in EMDR. which is a trauma evidence-based um, practice for treating trauma. And so I use that. I'm very experiential. And so because trauma lives in our body. And so just really have a heart to create space for people to be able to process their trauma, their grief, and then just transitioning to life in the midst of that.
I love that. Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that you have training and several different modalities that you can pull from to really help people
Mhm.
process their trauma in a safe environment. And
Mhm.
that's cool that you have a variety of things that you do, and including, like, I think you mentioned family work and
Mhm.
just really processing life transitions. Those are
Mhm.
really needed. So that's
Yes.
for people in the community who, if you're looking for that,
Mhm.
that's where Wilderness Blooms Kristen can help you out.
Mhm.
And with you've mentioned a little bit about kind of how you were inspired by and like came up with the name of your practice. But can you tell us a little bit more about what has led you to even just be a counselor?
Yeah, that's a great question because this is my second career.
Yeah.
Um, so I was in the field of education for over a decade and a number of things, both personally and professionally. As a teacher, I noticed like my heart was always bent towards my kids who experienced trauma and then were trying to learn and then had so many barriers to learning. And I didn't feel equipped as a teacher, like to know how to support them, and families as well. And then as a teacher, the pressure is like really more academically. And my heart would always be very distracted by like what is impacting this child from being able to learn? You're asking me to teach them when they've just come out of like maybe, oh, they didn't even have breakfast this morning, and you're asking me to teach them, and so I felt like I lacked skill sets in that area. And then my own personal journey of grief and loss, I started in trauma. I started doing my own work, and then leading a grief support group and just really realizing like that how I often treated people in pain and loss was like a problem to be solved.
Mm.
And then once I started experiencing pain and loss, I'm like, "Oh, that doesn't feel good." But that's always how, like, I, like, learned to show up for people. And
Yeah.
so I had a lot of curiosity, like, what does it really mean to, like, come along people and be with them in their pain and actually be, a safe place of connection, a balm, and to treat them not as a problem to be solved, but as a person to be experienced and connected with in these very vulnerable, raw places. Um, so for me, being a teacher and being a lifelong learner, I was like, okay, like this is a big jump, but so much of what I already was doing as a teacher and then my own personal work and then leading a grief support group, like it, it was, I was already doing a lot of that work. I just didn't have like, I really had more curiosity about like, how do I truly come alongside people? So made the transition into grad school for counseling.
Wow. And
Mm.
I just love that. And what sticks out to me, and one of the things that you said was, instead of viewing people as a problem to be solved, I view them as a person to be experienced. And
Mhm.
that's just so powerful. And I
Mhm.
think that what you experienced as a teacher in the education system is you got to see a lot of the
Mm.
gaps in our system and how
Mhm.
there's just so much need. And
So much need.
I'm sure there was a lot of like heaviness there, but you like saw an opportunity and you leaned into it. And now you're like in this counseling world. And I just think that's so
Mhm.
beautiful of
Yes.
saw it. And then you were like, okay, I guess I'm going to fill this need. Like I'm going to be
Mm.
one of the people to bridge that gap and to really
Mm,
like show up for people in the way that I'm seeing as truly needed to even
mm-hmm.
just help the education system that you stepped out of.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. So much support is needed in the education system.
Yeah. And I love too just the confessions just in your story of like, I really was viewing things as a problem to be solved. And
Mm.
I love that that's just so human. Like we all do that.
Mhm.
That's a good reminder, even for clients, is that,
Mhm.
sometimes when, and I know I've experienced this when I go into counseling, it can kind of feel like, okay, this therapist, I don't know if they're going to really get it. Like there's
Mhm.
almost a barrier, professional barrier where it can
Mhm.
feel like, will this person really be able to relate to me?
Mhm.
I think just in what you've said, you're like, I'm human too. And like, I know what
Mhm.
it feels like. And I've experienced the struggles. And so you really can relate and connect with your clients in that way on a human to human level, which is so powerful.
Yes. Yes. I'm really wow. I I wouldn't say I'm really grateful for my trauma and my
Yeah.
loss in my life, but like,
Mm.
just like be able to say I've sat in that chair too. I'm not I'm not going to ask you to do anything I haven't done myself. Um is just for me a greatest gift I can give.
Yeah. I love that. One last comment about just what you shared was I love that you mentioned that this is your second career. Like
Mm-hmm.
that feels encouraging to like me, and I'm sure to people who, if they are currently like in a career that they're like, I don't know if this is really what I want to do long
Hmm.
term, that like you don't have to. Like there are other
Yes.
paths in life can take you on a journey that leads to something else really powerful and beautiful. And so I think that that's really inspiring.
Yes. Yes, it is. It's been quite the journey, and I'm so thankful that I was willing to lean into the unknown. And I mean, I didn't know that I was going to become a counselor necessarily when I went to grad school. I thought I was just going to go back into the classroom and just have that skill set, and then like maybe on the outside of the classroom, have grief support groups. And so, yeah, here I am, and it's amazing to have the gift of getting to try on, you know, a new profession and realize like I was a great teacher, but then also like this really is my sweet spot. Like I am home in the counseling room.
I love that. Yeah. Um, you kind of been talking about it. I feel like in the entire time we've been chatting, but could you maybe just like in a little bit more like succinctly kind of tell us how would you even define like counseling? I think that that's something that
Mm.
continues to like mystify people is like,
Yes.
okay, I'm a counselor, we're gonna do this thing, but like what
Hmm.
is it? So yeah, in your own words, how would you define that?
Yeah. Wow. For me as a counselor, I truly feel like we are created for connection. And so really what I offer you is I'm not a genie in the bottle. I'm not gonna like be like, this is what you're doing, like you're doing this and you need to do this. Like my belief is that the body is always moving us towards healing. And I am there as a person to just create an environment and connection where you can have the safety and the courage to explore what you already have with inside and maybe haven't had access to maybe people or places that your body could fully open up and have that courage and bravery and just to honor that. So really it's for me, counseling is just being with someone in a way that gives them an opportunity to go to the places that their body already naturally yearns to go, but maybe doesn't have access or has never known safety and connection, or someone just being with them and not trying to solve them.
Mm.
And that might still sound very mystifying.
I mean, it's truly what you're saying. And I think it's hard to even like put into words because what you're saying is it's an experience. It's a
Yes, there you go, Sarah.
sense of presence. And so what
Hmm.
I'm saying is when you come into the counseling room with me, I'm not going to tell you what I think you're like doing right and wrong and how to fix this and that, or I'm not going to
Mm-mm.
be a judge of your life.
Mm-mm.
I'm just going to help you awaken to who you are,
Mm-mm.
have a new experience of what it looks like to connect to yourself and to connect with a safe other, which is so powerful.
Yes, exactly. You said, well said.
Thank you. And I love that. I'm like sitting here and I'm thinking, man, like I wish Kristin could be my counselor. Um, so want to be mindful too, within being a counselor,
Mhm.
also other things that sometimes we do within our profession or just in our personal life. This is more than just, I think, a
Mhm.
job for most of us. And so want to just ask,
Mhm.
are there any ways that people can connect with you? Are there projects that you're involved in that
Mhm.
people could reach out to get involved with? Yeah,
Mhm.
what's going on in your life right now in ways that
Well, I wish I had a lot to share about what I do outside of the class or out of the classroom. Well, the counseling room is a classroom, and so you're always learning, but out of the counseling room. But right now my focus has really just been on like making sure that I have the capacity to show up for the people I've already been entrusted with. But I do have dreams, Sarah. And I what I do know is that I mean, I love supporting other counselors. And we're already in a group and formed a community where we're doing that. So I have a huge heart for supporting counselors, helping them, you know, get started in their own private practice. Help them like just sometimes you need someone to hold your hand, but overall just being a cheerleader, that is in my blood. Captain of the cheerleading squad over here. Like so you can definitely, if you need support as a counselor or I am here to cheer you on. And so love that. And then I mean I in in the dream world, if I had endless capacity, I mean, I would love to host retreats.
Mm,
I would love to put more content out there.
mm.
Um, I've been writing a book for probably 2 decades now.
I love
That's sitting
that.
in my just drive storage, about my own life. And so I do have a desire and future hope of finding more platforms to advocate for mental health, and share my story, come alongside others. I've previously been involved in support groups. I've been a part of the National Alliance of Mental Illness, NAMI,
Mhm.
which we have a local support group in Fayetteville, and that's for families that experience loved ones that experience some type of mental health um, diagnoses, and then also for people who experience mental health diagnoses. And it's a community of just support, of learning how to live with that and stay connected and how to find resources. So I also love really helping families, just practically on the side, not as, just as someone who's walked that life with another loved one, like, because
Yeah.
it's very overwhelming. Like, I'm
Mhm.
here and these are the resources, these are practical things that you can do. How can I help you? So those are just some of the my dreams, and then some things I've done in the past. Mhm.
I love that. Yeah. So what I'm hearing is if people want to get connected to you, the best way they can do that is to just dream with you and collaborate with you.
Oh,
Uh,
yes. Dream with me. Come dream with me.
um, and yeah, just allowing like other professionals in the area if they want to connect and they
Mhm,
want to just hear your story or get some
mhm,
tidbits of knowledge and things that words of wisdom that you've learned along the way, that that's something that
mhm.
you are passionate about and you want to do.
Yeah, reach out. Yes, yes. And
Amazing.
go for a walk with me. I love walking.
Um, so how can people reach out to you?
Yes. They like wildernessblooms .com. It's a website. And then so you can find all my contact information on there. I am on social media, but would say that's not right, like my primary focus right now, but you can still like check it if you want to message me through there. Wilderness Blooms. I try to keep everything very consistent.
Yes.
Wilderness Blooms. Yeah, and then yeah, you can email me at Kristin at Wilderness Blooms. So
Yes.
um those are just some practical ways to reach out to me.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, Kristen, this has been so fun. And
Yes.
yeah, thanks for letting me just ask you some questions and giving the community an opportunity to know you more and just get a deeper look
Mhm.
at who is Wilderness Blooms and what you do. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, I'm excited for just the things that you're doing and that I get to be a
Mhm.
witness to that. And so, thanks so much
Mhm.
for just joining me today.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Sarah, and thanks for just taking the time and the initiative to open up conversations with people in our community. What a great resource, a valuable resource this is, because this is so many people do have a lot of questions, and just want to like maybe have an opportunity to connect more with those helpers in the community. So appreciate it, Sarah.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh,
Mm.
well, until next time.
Yes.